So here we go. Module 6. We're going to be learning about the midpoint and the distance of a particular line segment. Let's get to it. So if we want to find the distance of a particular segment, what we're going to do is we're going to use what we call a distance formula. And the distance formula, D, is going to be x2 minus x1 quantity squared plus y2 minus y1 quantity squared. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all of that and take the square root of it. All of that and take the square root of it. Okay. Now we have some experience with x2 and x1 and so forth and so forth. So let's jump right into an example. Right? So what if I want to find the distance of a line segment which goes from the point 2, 6 out to 8, 24. So these are 2 points in a coordinate system, and a line is constructed to join these two, and that becomes a line segment. So what we're going to do now is we're going to find the distance of that. So I'm going to call this x1, and I'm going to call this x2. It really doesn't matter that we do that because, as you can see, we square them. However, this then becomes y1 and this then becomes y2. So all we're going to do now is put that into our equation, right? So what we have here is x2, which is 8 minus 2 squared. And we're going to add that to y2, which is 24 minus 6 squared. And again, remember, we're taking the square root of this, okay? We're taking the square root of all of this. All right, so here we go. 8 minus 2 is 6. So this is 6 squared. Plus 24 minus 6 is 18. 18 squared. And again, we're taking a square root of that. Right? And now when you work that out, you're going to get 340 under the square root sign, which is going to give us a number that looks like this: 5.830095. But what we want to do is we want to bring this down to 3 significant figures. Okay, so I get 5.83, and my units is just going to be units. But if you have a scale that you're working with, right, then you're going to convert it to that scale. What do I mean by a scale? Maybe you're working with something that says 1 unit is equal to, let's say, 20, let's say, newtons, for argument's sake, right? Maybe you're working a physics problem. Then you would take this 5.83 units and multiply it by 20 and get the answer in newtons, okay? Now we're not finished with this problem. We are finished with finding the distance. But most times when you're asked to find the distance, you're also asked to find the midpoint. So we're going to take these same 2 points, same line segment, okay? And we're going to find the midpoint. But before I do that, let's talk about how to find the midpoint. All right, so the midpoint is going to be x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. And this is a coordinate system. Okay, so this right here represents the x, for that point. And this right here represents the y for that point. Okay, so you're finding a point, the midpoint. Okay, now let's try to recall what it is that we were working on just now. We were working on 2, 6. This is the line segment joined by these 2 points, 8 and 24. So we want to find the midpoint. We already found the distance. Let's find the midpoint. So following suit with this right here, MP is equal to x1, 2, plus 8 divided by 2, comma, 6, plus 24, 6 plus 24 divided by 2. So this becomes 10 divided by 2. This becomes 30. 30. Divided by 2. So my point here is 5, 15. This is my midpoint. Okay. Well, let's see if we did this right. X1 plus X2. X1 plus X2. And then Y1 plus Y2. Okay, good. Let's try to do the same thing. I'll give you a different set of numbers. Okay, so let's look at -1 and 3. And 3 and -9. So what you're being asked to do is to find, and you can do it in any order, right? Let's flip the order in this case, just for fun. So let's find the midpoint for part A. And then for part B, let's find the distance of that line segment. All right, so go ahead, pause the video and give it a shot. All right, so the midpoint is going to be equal to x1 plus x2. So that's -1 plus 3 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2. So this is 3 plus a -9 divided by 2. So what we have here is -1 plus 3 is 2. This is 2 over 2, comma. 3 plus a -9 is -6 divided by 2. Hence, this becomes 1 and -3. That is the midpoint of this line. 1 and -3. All right, let's just write that in right here. 1 and -3. All right, that's our answer. Now, let's go ahead now and find the distance. Well, we know that D is going to be equal to the square root. Everything here is going to come under the square root sign. Okay, and my formula says x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So let's do that. What is x2? x2 is 3. So I have a 3 minus, and x1 is -1, so this is minus a -1. And then that is squared. Plus, what is y2? y2 is a -9 minus 3 squared. And of course, this is all under the square root sign. Right? So 3 minus a -1 is 3 plus 1. So this becomes 4 squared. Minus 9 minus 3 is minus 12. Minus 12 squared is what we have here. And so this becomes 16 plus 144. Again, this is still under the square root sign. Okay. And so this becomes the square root of 160. And the square root of 160, round it off the 3 significant figures, is 12.7 units. So there you go. That's the midpoint, and that's the distance. Easy like a Sunday morning. It just requires some practice. Okay. So we've come to the end of this course, and you've learned quite a lot here. And you should be prepared to answer multiple choice questions. You should be prepared to answer knowledge-based questions. You should be able to go out and find and actually solve multiple parts question, A, B, C. You should be able to find parallel lines, perpendicular lines. If they give you a point that it passed through and they give you a line with which it's perpendicular to. All right. So go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Again, look for the live class. The live class affords you the ability to have a one-on-one discussion with me, get live feedback on what you're learning, get more practice if you desire. Go ahead and share this with anybody who you think might find this useful. I'm going to put together an assessment in module 7. For those of you who are interested in practicing what you've learned, I'll put together a short assessment. And what I'll do is I'll also give you an opportunity to consult with me on the solutions. It was great having you. Stick around, find out what else we have to offer here and learn with these channels. Check our Facebook or Instagram. Again, like our Facebook page because there's always updates there. All right.